Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for All About Android is provided by CacheFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Ting.com. Ting is a mobile phone service that makes sense. Save money with Ting. Pay only for what you use. Ting doesn't require a contract and offers unlimited devices on one shared plan. To save $25 on your first Ting device, visit allaboutandroid.ting.com. That's allaboutandroid.ting.com. And by iFixit. You can fix it, and iFixit makes it easy with step-by-step repair guides, high-quality replacement parts, and all the tools you'll need. For $10 off your purchase of $50 or more, go to ifixit.com/twit and enter the code AAA at checkout. And by Hulu Plus. Hulu Plus lets you binge on thousands of hit shows anytime, anywhere on your TV, PC, smartphone, or tablet. Visit huluplus.com/allaboutandroid to start your free 2-week trial. That's huluplus.com/allaboutandroid. Hello and welcome to another episode of All About Android, episode 138, recorded on Tuesday, December 3rd, 2013. We're your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
I'm Ron Richards.
And I'm Aaron Newcomb.
Yeah, Aaron filling in for Gina.
Yeah.
Ron in the studio.
It's all good.
It's all good.
Good day.
This is your team for December.
That's right.
This is, yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
we are your
so,
team
yeah.
for December.
As Gina plots a cross-country move. We wish her luck.
Yes, I do not envy Gina right now. Yeah. She is getting everything, packing up and getting ready to move from San Diego to New York.
With lots of couch.
Right?
Yeah, New York. Yeah, she's going.
Oh, man. Moving just sucks.
Yeah, and she said she's got.
And then moving across country, I have to imagine, sucks really bad.
She's crashing into people as she goes cross country, and so we wish her luck. I'm sure it'll all be good fun.
Yes.
It'll be good.
Yeah.
We need a name though. I mean, we got a lot of guys here. We need some sort of
like a team
good
name.
Yeah, I mean, Justice League or something. I mean, we got to come up with some sort of
the show name probably kind of covers that. All About Android.
There we go.
Triple testosterone techies, something like that. And we got to come up with something.
We'll leave it up to the chat room. Maybe halfway through we could check in and see what they come up with, and then not read it because we can't say it on the air. Definitely want to bring our guest for today's episode into the fold. Eric Ravenscraft, writer at Lifehacker. As it turns out, Gina is a former life hacker, and then you come on, and Gina's like, that's it, I'm moving cross country.
I'm out.
It's funny, I'm on the other side of the country, so she's not getting away from much.
She's getting closer.
Well, Eric, it's awesome having you on the show. Thanks for joining us tonight. You're definitely, I follow your work on Lifehacker and, of course, on Google Plus, where you're very vocal. I love Google Plus for all this Android stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yep.
Why are you laughing?
Vocal's a good way to put that.
I have a knack of putting my foot in my mouth from time to time. That's why it's fun. This week, we're going to be discussing phones for the holidays, the case of the missing Nexus 10 sequel, Chrome OS apps on Android, and more. Did I mention it's been a slow news week? Before we get into the news, we might as well check in on the platform distribution numbers for December.
Well,
there we go.
Do we have a bumper for checking in on the platform distribution numbers?
Don't you think? I think we're beyond the point of there being a huge amount of discussion on this stuff.
Yeah,
but it's interesting to note that KitKat is at 1.1%.
There it is.
Right out of the gate.
So it is safe to say that I am part of the 1%.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
There's even a 0.1%.
So that means I'm part of the 99%.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
And Eric, where do you fall in this percentage scale?
I'm actually in that 1%, but I not because of my Nexus. I have the Moto X, which I think this might be one of the first times that initial 1% includes a carrier-branded device.
Yeah,
normally that doesn't happen that quick.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Very true. And Moto X was super quick. And strangely, and we talked about this, I think, last week, the Verizon Moto X was the first one to beat any
really
other
weird.
device outside of a Nexus device
Yep.
to the KitKat fold. Gingerbread still hanging in there, 24.1%. Jelly Bean, 54.5%. That doesn't bother me. I didn't put ice cream sandwich in here. I don't know why. I forgot.
You're over it.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Jelly Bean or KitKat for the win. All right, so let's I guess it's kind of news. Let's do news. All right, so this actually is news, and I thought it was kind of interesting. There was this big, kind of to-do about the Moto X Cyber Monday sale. Was it $350 for a Moto X unlocked, or was it $400 for the Moto X unlocked? I think it was $400 for the Moto X unlocked.
$399 or something.
And wow, did that not work for Motorola
At all.
It was impressive and epic, the amount of not working that it did. Basically, the site was just riddled with problems all day long. Apparently, they underestimated demand and the way that they staged the site to prepare for the onslaught of people wanting to buy a Moto X off contract for $400, which is a great price for the device, was too much for Motorola's servers to handle. Motorola has since come out with an apology, and basically what they're going to do to make up for it is offer tomorrow, so tomorrow being Wednesday, December 4th, as well as next Monday. I don't have the date on that, but next Monday, the following Monday anyways, as days where they're going to offer more of these devices at this price. They're doubling the amount because it's a limited time offer when they do open up the sales. How bad of a situation is this, or is this just kind of indicative of their parent company Google's kind of inability to plan for something like this? Eric, what do you think about it?
I think it actually proves that there is at least somewhat of a firewall between Motorola and Google, because the Nexus 5 launch didn't go this bad.
Yeah.
So it looks like Motorola is learning the same lessons over again. So whatever infrastructure Google built up, Motorola clearly did not get that.
They're truly autonomous and free to make their own mistakes.
Free to make their own epic mistakes.
Right.
And you'd think that after the Nexus 4 kind of fail, they would be, there's some sort of communication between the two. That had to have been a tense day at Motorola headquarters.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
I have to imagine somebody kind of got in a
imagine
little bit of trouble on that. And I feel bad for that person because.
Yeah, well, Jeff Jarvis was saying on Google Plus today, he was like, oh, did they outsource their IT department to the Obama administration? All this stuff because it was so bad. It's like you would think an IT company could handle this, right? You would think, I mean, I can understand if it's like, a diaper company or someone that doesn't specialize in technology, but this is a technology company. You got to get this stuff right.
Man.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right, Eric, that obviously, it kind of shows, the difference between the Nexus 5 kind of going for sale versus the Moto X sale, and that there is a little bit of a separation between the two. Having said that, it really smacked of what we experienced, I think it was a year ago, with the Nexus 4 and before that, and just kind of the repeated times that Google had to make those mistakes, and just kind of stung again. It was like, my wife was actually going to do it. And,
really?
we were just monitoring it all day, and it just wasn't happening. It was just kind of a bummer.
I mean, it's unfortunate because it's such a missed opportunity, and then
totally.
It's the combination of the missed opportunity plus the egg on the face, plus then having to recoup, and you got to wonder, even though they have plans to redo it and re-roll it out, make it better, how many sales are they going to lose? Like and it stinks because it's a good product. Like it's a product that doesn't deserve that kind of rollout, or that kind of not rollout, but attention, or a failed promotion. So it's kind of sad. I don't know. I don't take pleasure in this kind of fail. This is like this is no Schadenfreude here, or whatever that word is. I can never pronounce it.
You got it right.
Schadenfreude. Yeah. But they seem to be making good on it, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, doubling the amount that they're offering for the deal, I think is a great step. And, they have some discounts on some of the accessories, I think 30% or something like that, for some of the accessories, which they're extending that to the 2 days as well.
And they apologized, so
yeah.
That's the important thing.
That's all it takes. Yes, that's what everyone wants. All everyone's waiting for is an apology. So news was really light. Putting together this lineup for this week, it was like, all right, so what on earth are we going to throw in here? However, having said that, there are a lot of kind of discussions that happen this time of year, and one of them happens to fall in like what makes a good gift? Like holiday gift giving around Android is something that a lot of our our viewers are going to be asking themselves.
And it's actually something that I've already gotten asked of me already, like in the past 2 weeks, like, oh, hey, you know, Christmas is coming up, or, you know, Hanukkah's going on right now. I want to, you know, get somebody a new phone. I want to upgrade my phone. Which one is the best one to do? There was a great J.R. Raphael over at Computer World wrote up actually a really, really great write-up of the best Android phones you could buy right now. And in reviewing this, I realized, like, wow, now is a really good time for Android phones.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
I mean, just to kind of run down, and we can run down through these and kind of discuss whether we agree or disagree. And it's one of these, you see a lot of these blog posts around the holidays, like the top 5 things you can give someone or whatever, but this actually was done really well. He says the best overall user experience was the Moto X. Which in light of recent, I mean, we're talking user experience, not not total experience. So
not specs, some people would argue, you know, the specs, you know, maybe don't stack up, but I would agree. My wife loves her Moto X.
Yeah,
absolutely loves it.
Well, the thing about the Moto X that I found so interesting is that a lot with the customization and the general look and feel of it, it is a unique phone, almost similar to how Samsung is trying to make the Galaxy S4 kind of a unique phone. It's not just another Android phone. The Moto X, I think, has its own identity.
It has a style, a certain style to it, and thankfully, a lot of that kind of style is based around stock Android, more or less.
Yep.
So it's a really good kind of broad appeal device that lets people outside of the fold that may not really understand or care about the difference between Sense versus TouchWiz versus stock Android. It gives them a glimpse into, you know, a great device that's running stock more or less Android, and to
like
see just how
stock
far
plus.
it's come.
It's like stock plus. I mean, it feels like stock, but then they've put in some of the things that Samsung, not the same things, but similar things to what Samsung has done, except Samsung goes all the way and puts in TouchWiz and everything else.
Too far.
In my opinion as well, too far. But the Moto X kind of like, okay, let's stick with the Google look and feel, but then we'll add things like the active display and the touchless control and those things that you might want. And the camera itself is unique, especially I think for low light. So I mean, there's a lot of things there. The speakers on the front and things. I mean, there's a lot of. Or is the speaker still on the back with the Moto X? It's on the front, right?
No, I don't believe the speakers.
Or is it on the back?
No, I don't think it is.
The speaker's on the back of the phone. Yeah.
Oh, it's on the back. Okay, I get them confused because so many are coming out with it on the front now. But you know, so they've added some of those things, and I think that's what users are looking for. I mean, that's what I always recommend is people to go with something that's as close to the Google experience as possible because, you know, that's where the development's getting done. That's what's going to look familiar to most folks if they go out and they do a search on how do I do such and such, you know. And if they don't know to throw in the TouchWiz for the search, then they're going to come up with probably something
completely different.
Yeah, something completely different. So
and that kind of goes to, you know, like up until about a month ago, my stock answer to somebody is like, oh, I want to get an Android phone. What should I get? I've been recommending the HTC One because I've just been so impressed by that phone. I think that phone is a great handset. It's a great kind of thing. It's easy to jump into, especially that they're offering the Google Play edition, so you can get it kind of clean and get kind of the Android stock experience. But after a couple of weeks now with the Nexus 5, like hands down, Nexus 5 not only, and Computer World calls it out, JR calls it out as the best bang for your buck phone. Given the price point and that it's unlocked and the fact that this Nexus 5 is just a seriously sweet phone from top to bottom, both in terms of speed, ease of use, all the KitKat features, but also, like, I don't know if you saw when I was traveling on Google Plus, I posted a photo I took when I was boarding the plane in Manchester in England.
I didn't see that.
And there was, and I'll find it on Google Plus. I can give the link to the photo. But it was one of those things where people in the comments were saying, wait, was that with your Nexus 5? Like, it was like one of the first times I've had like a, hey, I took a good photo moment, you know?
Right.
You know, I've just been impressed by it a ton. So, like, without hesitation now, I tell people, I just point people in the direction of the Nexus 5 as a gift recommendation.
Eric, with your time at Lifehacker, have you had a chance to play around with the Moto X versus the 5 or either of those devices?
I actually got to play with a friend's Nexus 5 for a few minutes, so that's about my extent of the experience with it. I've got Nexus devices everywhere else. I've got all the tablets. Yeah. But so I can't. The hardware is only part of the story, really. So I mean, in most cases, you're just getting stock Android. The Nexus 5 has a solid screen. It's got good battery life.
I think so.
And it feels really nice. Like between the Moto X and the Nexus 5, I couldn't even pick one because they both feel really good in terms of the hardware. So I'm personally partial to the Moto X just because it's like stock Android plus a couple features. But aside from that, they're both good phones. Those are the ones I'd recommend.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to stock Android on a device, the Moto X is the first time that Nexus diehards actually considered like, oh, well, actually, that's pretty cool. You know what I mean? Because like we've kind of talked about, Samsung has rolled out a lot of extra features into their devices, but they don't end up, in my opinion, they don't end up being incredibly useful long term. You know, they might be here and there, you might use it and then just kind of forget about it or whatever. Some of the extra features on the Moto X are incredibly useful, and it has Nexus fans, diehard Nexus fans, going, well, why can't that be part of actual Google? Because that is freaking awesome, you know.
It's that product differentiation or that they do is really there. So we pulled it up. Let me have a moment to show off my photo. So this picture was taken on the tarmac at the airport in Manchester, England. No Instagram filter, no anything like that. This is just straight from the photo. And this was at about, I want to say 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
It looks pretty darn good.
Yeah, so that was with the Nexus 5. So, you know.
I've had great experience with the Nexus 5. There are issues. The autofocus issue drives me batty sometimes. If I'm like this far from my kid trying to take a picture of her, I will be tapping on the screen to focus on her, and it goes zip, zip, and it ends up blurry. And I have to do it like 5 times to get a lock. I have to imagine that's a software fix.
What's driving me crazy, similar to the focus, is that when I take a picture, you know how it freezes the picture that you take and then moves it to the side? It freezes it, but goes out of focus. And so I keep thinking I took a picture that was out of focus, and I'm like, oh, let me take another one. Then I look, and all 3 were pristine, but that moment of the freeze, it's not freezing the image that it grabbed. It's freezing whatever in the camera. Yeah, it's just really.
I've had that too. I've had the same problem, but I'm on a Galaxy S4 running Google Edition 4.2. Oh no, sorry, 4.3.1, and I've had the same feature. So it's got to be something in the stock camera app.
Yeah. It's got to be software.
It's got to be a bug somehow, because I've done the exact same thing that you're talking about. You go in and you're like, oh, that was a blurry image. Then you go back to the gallery, or you just swipe across to pull it up, and it's like, oh, it's fine. Yeah. So
now, real quick before we could kind of talk a little bit about the rest of the phones on this list, John Mizak wrote in saying strongly considering picking up. No, actually, this was on Google Plus. Strongly considering picking up a Moto X when they go back on sale tomorrow instead of an Nexus 5, because the pricing is the same, right? You could get either of them unlocked for $400 or $350, whichever the model is. I got to look that up. Is it $350 is the starting point?
It starts at $350.
Okay, well, there you go. Thank you. You know, and he's asking, has anybody used both? Can you make a case for either one? And this is also the Verizon Moto X Developer Edition on KitKat yet. That's a separate question. But, I mean, if you're paying the same price, what do you go for? And I'm not sure there's an easy answer here, because I think both phones appeal to a different person. If you're a power user, I'd probably say you want the Nexus 5, just because hardware-wise, in a longevity sense, I think it's probably going to last a little bit longer than the Moto X. But that's nothing against the Moto X, because the Moto X is really good for a lot of reasons. I don't know. I feel like you almost have to use both of them to decide, because they're both great for different reasons.
And who knows? Like I could get a Moto X and use it for a month and fall in love with it and be like, no, forget the Nexus 5. This is the phone. But I just feel like the Nexus 5 is the one. Like I even had like iPhone users who saw my Nexus 5 were like, whoa, look at that screen. Like comment on how sharp the screen looked, and it was, you know. So I got a lot of love for the Nexus 5. Even though the Moto X is cool, I think Nexus 5 takes you longer, or takes you further.
The only thing I would say in regards to that is, even though the Moto X seems to be getting updates really quickly right now, it may not in the long run. Whereas the Nexus 5, you're not guaranteed, but pretty much guaranteed that whenever it comes out next, will be backported to the Nexus 5 very quick. So when the Nexus 6 comes out with Android 5.0, it's a pretty good chance that's going to hit the Nexus 5 as well. So if you get the Nexus 5 now, I think you have a better chance of getting those updates in the future, if that's important to you. If, on the other hand, like we said, those special apps that Motorola has developed to run on top of the Google experience are what you're into, then I think that would be a pull in the Moto X's direction.
Mm-hmm. And then what else do we... Oh, sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to echo Aaron's, and also I'll play devil's advocate for the Moto X. I feel like the Moto X is like stock plus Android, or stock Android plus. So I think that like the extra features are worth it. There's nothing Motorola added that I don't like, and that's very rare to say about a manufacturer skin. So, and they're still adding stuff too. They put all of their apps on the Play Store, so they can update those independently as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that's worth considering for the Moto X.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Isn't it weird that Motorola at this point has done such a turn around? Like, they used to be my most hated skin in the world.
Yeah.
And now their skin is the one that is almost unskin-like.
It's amazing. And we're not, I mean, and going back to it being a good time for phones also, it's just like, there's the HTC One, also there's the Moto Gs out there, this whole Samsung line, whether you want the Galaxy Note. I know a friend of mine just got the Note and loves it.
Note 3.
Yeah, so lots of options out there for folks. So it's a good time to be buying phones as gifts, I guess.
And don't forget, if you're on a budget like me, because I'm actually in the process of upgrading my family's phones, and so I may even just wait until after Christmas, because everyone's going to be getting new phones for Christmas, and then Craig's is going to be flooded with all these like one generation behind phones. So if you're on a budget like me, just wait till just after Christmas and maybe give him like a really nice like printout or something of a phone.
Because everybody loves opening up a printout.
Here's what you're getting
when you open a box and there's a color printout of the picture of a phone. That's what really it shows that Santa cares.
Imagine that this was a phone.
Just imagine what this will feel like in your
We've
hands.
all done that,
So. But yeah, that may be the way we go, because I know there's going to be a ton of these phones, like the Nexus 4 is probably going to drop in price after Christmas and all this stuff. So
absolutely,
something to think about.
Yeah,
cool. And then so what is this this Sailfish thing all about?
The Sailfish thing.
Explain it.
Well, there is a company out of Finland, almost said Denmark, Finland, I believe, called Hala. And Hala produces a they just released a phone over there that runs the Sailfish OS. It gets a little bit confusing. Hala is the company. Sailfish OS is like Android. It runs on your device. And if you're used to hearing us talk about things like Ubuntu phone or Tizen, kind of like alternative operating systems, smartphone operating systems, this is another one to add to the list. And it's actually pretty cool, because I don't know if you guys remember Migo. You remember Migo from Nokia? They actually were sponsoring this, and then they dropped the project. And it was all open source, and it was community based, and people were contributing all kinds of stuff to it, and then they just dropped it, right? So everybody was crying about that for a little while, but they picked this up. They picked the source code up, and this is going to be an open source distribution that you can run on your phone, and it actually looks pretty cool. It's a little bit different I think we have a video of it. It's a little bit different in the way that it works as opposed to Android or iOS. It's really focused on what you're doing. So it's almost a cross between, the way I look at it, it's almost a cross between the Windows Metro look and the Android look and feel. Because what happens is when you're on your phone, you actually see the apps that are running. So when you go to your home screen, you don't see whatever, like a bunch of little icons. You say, oh, I've got these 5 apps running, and they're actually running right there on your home screen. So if you start a video, for example, and you watch it, and then you go back to the home screen to do something, the video is still running right there, except it's in a smaller form factor. So it's really, really cool. So the big news this week around this is that they're actually going to be supporting Android devices. So you can actually load the Sailfish OS on other Android phones. Cool. If you want to. And so I think I will be doing that. Of course, I'll make a backup first. Don't forget to make a backup. I'm so glad I made a backup last time I did this. But make a backup, and then you can run it on your phone, and it should be really, really cool. It's quite a different experience. I'd like to get one in hand to play with it. It feels, they also use a couple other they're built on top of a couple other open source projects. Nemo, I already mentioned Migo, Qt. They use Qt in the background, so people that are familiar with Linux will be familiar with Qt. And it feels really like they've taken all the compiz goodness out of Qt and things. You slide your finger across, and it kind of fades back to the desktop. But if you want to go back, you can just slide your finger back, and the app is still right there running. True multitasking is another feature that they bring to the table. So instead of this partial multitasking, like the app goes to sleep, they actually have true multitasking. So 2, 3, 4, however many apps, can be running simultaneously at the same time. So it's really, really cool stuff. So, I mean, if you're interested, I would highly follow this and see what happens. The other really cool feature about Sailfish OS is you can run Android apps natively on top of Sailfish.
Oh,
so kind of like BlackBerry did when they came out with
yeah, right.
Yeah, so it's very similar to that. You can actually run natively Android apps, that whatever your favorite Android app is, because there really isn't a lot of apps built on Sailfish natively, but you can run native Android apps right on Sailfish if you want to. So all those Android apps should work.
Kind of a way of boosting their app ecosystem.
It's a way to get people to switch over if they if they want to, without losing all their favorite apps. So
interesting.
Yeah, it should be really cool. Something worth following anyway. They've been talking about this for a long time, that they were going to support loading this on other Android devices. And they finally come out and said yes. We're going to distribute this OS, and if you want to try this, go ahead and try it. So
cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. Are you going to be putting it on your S4?
I will. Well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see about the S4. Maybe Leo will loan me a device and I'll put it on his phone.
Everybody gets an S4.
Leo's just handing out S4s like crazy.
If he's got an extra device, maybe I can borrow it for a night or so and load this on there and see if it really works. And that way he can play with it on This Week in Google or something.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yep.
Real quick email about glass, actually, and this is kind of appropriate because a lot of people are kind of in this. Should I put this on?
I think you should put it on.
You need to put it on when you do the story.
So that I still have it? Okay, there we go.
It's not a week if we don't talk about glass.
In fact, I'll just go ahead and take a picture of me taking a picture. This is John from Boston saying, I received an invitation to join the Google Glass Explorer program for the minor fee of $1,500. While I am beyond excited, I am just wondering whether this is a good time to buy them. He watched my Before You Buy review, also watching AAA. I'm sure your reaction and all that. Yep. Seems to be that the view is that while the device will be awesome in the future, it may only be mediocre right now. So I have 6 more days to make the decision on whether to buy or not. I'm hoping you all will help me make an informed decision. Sounds like John is having a crisis at the moment.
Jason, I can relate to John.
Yes,
because I hemmed and hawed as well. Because both Jason as well as several other people were kind enough to offer me their Explorer invites, and at the end of the day, there was a much teeth gnashing in the email between us, and I was like,
many caps.
I'm like, listen, glass is cool. I think it's going to be the future. I think it's going to be amazing. I can't justify $1,500 on it. Like, especially like if I was a developer, maybe, like if I was actually actively working towards it and that $1,500 would be put towards something else. But to have a cool thing that other people are having fun with for $1,500, I can spend that money in better places. I don't know. I mean, maybe I blew it. Maybe that was,
No, I'm right there with you. I mean, obviously, if I was a developer and I was developing apps for this thing, I would want one. It'd be worth buying one. Right. But as a consumer, no, not really, not yet. I want to see what happens first, right? I want to see if actually, what the final price point is. If they get the price point down, what do you guys think? I'm thinking maybe $400.
Yeah. I was gonna say I'd pay $500.
$500, okay.
Eric, where do you fall on this?
I honestly, I really wanted to like glass, and what killed it for me was that I realized I could do most of what it already does. I know it sounds common sense, but I was like, you can just say out loud, how tall is Jeff Goldblum, and Google will tell you, and you can do that on your phone. Like, if you get either the Moto X or the Nexus 5, you can do that hands-free. And Google just released, what was it, their Hot Word Chrome extension, so you can do that on the desktop. I'd say if you're thinking about it that hard enough to write in, go play with those things. Go get a Moto X and the Nexus 5 for that money, and install that extension. Play with those things and let that scratch your itch, because I don't see anything that glass can do specifically that those things can't do.
Although the recent news that came out today, and we saw it flash on the screen briefly, but it's official that Google Music will be coming to glass, thus answering our question as to the headphones and all that sort of thing. And
listen to Radiohead.
Is it installed? Is it working?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Here, I'll show you.
I mean, as a commuter, dream...
It's still listening to me, so it's saying everything that I'm saying right now.
My dream is to not have to have headphones in my ear all the time and stuff like that. So that, like, when I saw that, I was like, but again, not for $1,500.
Yeah.
I paid $9.99 for my headphones.
That's what it just did. It's searching right now for that artist, by the way.
There you go.
No music found, because there is no such thing as Radiohead, blah, 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 blah.
So this is the so you installed it and it's working.
So let's see here. Let's see if I can get it to work here real quick.
Live demos.
Okay, Glass.
All right.
Listen to Radiohead. There we go. It's searching. And wait for it. It starts to play, and then once it starts playing, I hear it through the bone conducting.
Oh, that's so
speaker.
cool! And do you see the picture of them?
Oh yeah, I see what you're seeing. This is a straight screencast.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so I'm listening to Creep right now.
That's so cool. Oh, now I want it all over again. Damn! Why didn't I buy it?
Go ahead, Ron. don't hold yourself back.
$1,500.
Enjoy.
Wait, it's on. Not this again.
Radio.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh, it's right there.
Wow, I'm having a flashback right now.
Oh man, I'm like a one-note joke. It's just like
That's so cool.
Watch the fat kid react to Google Glass.
Could not avoid it.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you guys. $1,500 if you have a specific reason to pay it. Like for development, get in early, develop your app so that when Glass comes out and if it becomes a big deal, you were there from the very beginning. You have a lot to gain from that as a developer if you do that, then maybe. But $1,500 as a consumer out of pure curiosity, it's pretty steep. I guess it also depends on if you have a lot of money to throw around. If you did, maybe you wouldn't be asking us this question. So
it's cool though. Don't get me wrong. It's really cool.
It has promise.
Yeah. All right. I gotta take this. I figured out how to stop it though. So there you go.
Good.
In a related story, they're actually the first consumerably, is that a word? Available, I don't know. Smart glasses, if that's what you want to call them, are actually available now. There's a company called Vuzix. I don't know if you saw this. Vuzix. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. But they actually released their M100 smart glasses for $1,000. I think today they just came out, so you can actually buy them today. They don't look all that great. I mean, it doesn't, to me, it doesn't look exactly like Google Glass. I mean, the look and feel isn't there. In fact, Mike Elgin had a post on Google Plus that kind of shows what it looks like, and it's kind of like instead of being above at your eyebrow, it's like below at your nose. Okay. And it's like pointed up at your eye.
But that looks weird.
To me, it does. To me, it looks a lot weirder than being kind of integrated with your glasses or something like that. To me, it looks a lot stranger to be like you're breathing
dot in between your eye and your mouth.
Yeah, to me, it's a little bit weird. Although it's a little bit more like
that's a little weird.
Do you think? Seriously, I think so. But the reason they did this, I think, is it does have like you can play music and stuff. So I think that's why, right? Because it just goes in your ear right there. It kind of clips on your ear.
And is it like
and then it comes across
a head like? Is that a head mount over the top?
It looks like it. It looks like maybe that's an accessory.
It looks like a Plantronics head.
It does a little bit.
It does have that look.
Yeah. Man, I just can't wait.
$1,000, you said.
That's $1,000.
Oh, that's not too bad. So, I just can't wait till we can swap out our eyeballs.
Yeah, why not?
Like it's going to be contact lenses at some point. I don't know if in our
lifetime.
lifetime.
That's the one I want.
Yeah,
that's
right.
The one I'll pay $1,500 for.
Right. Yeah.
Hot swappable eyeballs.
Hot swappable eyeballs. There you go. Yep.
Okay.
I'll take it. $1,500. That's good use of my money.
Yeah, $1,500. We all have $1,500 for hot swappable eyeballs, I think. Let's take a break and thank our first sponsor of today's episode, Ting. Ting is awesome. They are a no BS mobile phone service. Ting is an MVNO reseller of the nationwide Sprint network, and they're different from all the other networks and carriers out there. Here's how they're different. They don't do contracts or early termination fees. You're pretty much entirely contract free when you go through Ting. They have actually a new ETF relief program, and it's pretty cool. If you're paying an ETF to come to Ting from your carrier, they will hook you up. They're going to give you a credit for 25% of your ETF fee, up to $75 per device. You simply purchase your device through Ting, port your number over, then submit your final bill with your ETF detailed from your previous carrier. And they're going to hook you up with that. So go to ting.com/ETF if you want to read up on more information about that. That's just one example of kind of the cool, different things that Ting is doing versus the other guys out there. No bundling or ride-along services, no overage charges or penalties. The other guys charge you if you go over your minutes, your text, your data. If you have a heavier month with Ting, you just pay for what you used. Pretty sweet. No add-on charges for things like voicemail, caller ID, tethering, hotspot, all of those extras at other places. That's kind of included in your service. When you're going through your bill, you're not going to find strange, mysterious line items that don't make sense. They charge you whatever whatever they say they're going to charge you, plus the taxes that they're legally required to collect. No hidden charges. You can actually have unlimited devices on one plan, which makes it great. If you have a family and you want to equip everyone with a device, there you go. They have wonderful online account control panels and just ways to monitor your usage. They have excellent customer support, both by phone. Actually, when you call their customer support, you're actually going to get a real person immediately. They pick up the phone. Kind of strange in this day and age. Usually you get a message, a tree that you have to navigate through, not a ting. Excellent online support as well. So here's kind of what you do if you're interested in Ting. You purchase your mobile device from Ting, and it's going to be a little bit more expensive than if you're buying on contract, right? Because you're buying contract free. So you're going to pay more than maybe what you're used to if it was paid for thanks to a 2-year contract. There is no contract here. So you're paying for the device outright. But the beauty of that is that you end up receiving that device in 2 to 5 business days. And basically, you're contract free through Ting. You can actually also bring over your Sprint phone to Ting if you like. You can bring over an iPhone 4 or 4S if you choose. You can actually check out the full list of eligible phones by going to the special URL and click on the BYOD link at the top of the page to kind of show this out at ting.com. Ting will even help you turn your old device into cash to help you move over to Ting. And after you activate your device with Ting and have the option to select the new phone number, or you can port an existing one, Ting will actually break out your rates by minutes, text, messages, and megabytes, and bill you at the end of the month for what you have used. They make it all very simple. All you have to do is visit Ting today at allaboutandroid.ting.com. Make sure and visit that URL. That tells them that you actually heard about it on this show, and that's good for us as well. That'll allow you to save money and better manage your mobile phone service usage with Ting. You can also actually go there and check out their savings calculator to see how much money you or your company can save by using Ting. All About Android viewers also save $25 on your first Ting device when you sign up. So get an extra $25 off when you purchase a device by going to allaboutandroid.ting.com. Start saving today. Ting is pretty awesome, and we think you're going to find them pretty awesome too. So thank you, Ting, for your support of All About Android and the Twit Network. We couldn't do shows without you.
All right.
All right. Hardware time.
All I want for Christmas is a new hardware bumper.
I've heard that folks are working on it. Cool. I've heard that talented individuals are actually working on it.
I look forward to it. We should.
I don't know about for Christmas.
All right. Well,
it's, spare time stuff,
yeah,
but it'll happen.
Fair enough.
I know that it's in the works.
I just keep wishing.
Well, all I want for Christmas is the next-gen Nexus 10.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
And there was a lot of rumors going on back when KitKat was coming out that there might be a new Nexus 10 built on, instead of the original Nexus 10 was built on Samsung. Mm-hmm. It was a Samsung device, which was cool and everything. I mean, it worked well. But then they were going to do Acer was going to do the new one, right? I think it was Acer, was the rumor.
Asus.
Or Asus. I always get them mixed up. Asus was going to do the new one just like they did the Nexus 7. So I was super excited about it. We're going to get a brand new Nexus 10. It's going to be great. I'll get one for my birthday. And no.
Get one for yourself for your birthday?
Get one for myself for my birthday.
Of course, right.
I always hint around like, please get me this for my birthday. And then no one gets it and I just go out and buy it anyway.
Yeah.
But that's what I want. But then there's like nothing. So I don't know. Have you guys heard anything about Nexus 10? What's going on?
Nothing concrete. It's Nexus 10 version 2 is purely in rumor speculation land right now. And I've heard the same stuff that Asus might possibly have something to do with it. I have read some kind of articles that point to the possibility, or at least the speculation, that maybe the next Nexus 10 could be running Chrome OS and not Android.
Ooh,
which sounds crazy strange, but at the same time, I could see a 10-inch tablet running Chrome OS.
Well, here's the thing that leads me to think maybe that's accurate. Or if that rumor's true, then maybe it is Asus, built on the Asus Transformer line, because they have those really cool dockable keyboards and stuff. And so if it is running Chrome OS, that kind of makes sense, because you kind of want to use, at least I kind of want to use, a 10-inch tablet with at least some sort of a keyboard. I want to use it at work. I want to read my email and respond to email very quickly, instead of lugging around my big honking laptop. So, that kind of lends a little bit of maybe truth to the story about Asus being the next vendor behind Nexus 10. We'll see. But then again, I'm not too thrilled about Chrome OS. I kind of wish Chrome OS would go away, to be honest with you, and find some way to merge Android into that, because Android has everything that I want already. And
Android completes you.
It does. It does. And that would be better for me. I'd just rather have Android on there, because quite frankly, I'm getting so used to the interface and everything. I've been a user since the beginning. It's just more comfortable to me to use a tablet interface for most things, and except like long form typing, right? Which I'll need. But I hope it's Android and not Chrome. We'll see. We'll see. It's still a rumor.
Yeah. So Eric, where do you fall on the Nexus 10 world? Do you have the original? And I know I've only used it briefly, but I haven't owned one, so I haven't used it.
I own the original Nexus 10, and I love it. It's one of my favorite tablets. I usually prefer that over the Nexus 7. I'm one of the few that do. Honestly, I'm wondering if the reason we haven't heard anything is a much simpler reason. Google just wants to space out their product launches. You've got the Nexus 7 that's launched in summer twice now, and the Nexus 4 and 5, which launched in fall. Last year, the Nexus 10 was right on top of that, and Google servers crashed. So it would make sense to move the Nexus 10 to like early in the year, like in March or April or something, and have their product launches spaced out like that. That would make more sense to me than merging it with Chrome OS or running Chrome OS on the Nexus 10 instead. That's what I'd like to see anyway. So maybe we'll hear something in a couple months.
Yeah, missing that Christmas push though is
that's
kind of an interesting choice.
Nexus 10's always been the least well selling of their devices.
Yeah.
Is that the right way to say that? Yeah.
Right, the least performing, or the slow performer. I think the Chrome OS thing is really interesting, especially given the Android leadership and the background with Chrome OS and all that sort of stuff. But I feel like Chrome OS is kind of like the Pixel really hasn't taken off despite people liking it. And I mean, you seem fairly married to it.
I'm married to it.
Yeah,
I loved it and I wanted it, so I put a ring on it.
Yeah, there you go. You did the right thing. You made it official. But so I don't know. We'll see. Oh, there you go.
I'm a man of my word.
Oh, look at that.
There we go.
And now you gotta use the computer like that for the rest of the time. All right. Okay. So also in the rumor category, the upcoming rumors of, we've gotten used to a world with the Samsung Galaxy S4. Well, let's start talking about the Galaxy S5. Rumors that Samsung is going to be moving to a premium unibody metal design for the next phone in their flagship line of phones, coming out of a Japanese website called EMS1, stating the rumor that it will be much like the HTC One and phones like that, a unibody metal kind of more premium approach. So, which I think is the trend, right? I mean, it's not unbelievable.
I think people like it. People also really like the plastic approach.
They like
certainly has. I mean, there's no denying that Samsung has been pretty darn successful doing what it's been doing for the past several years. Aaron, you have the Samsung Galaxy S4. What would you think if they came out with the unibody aluminum design? Would that change your thoughts, or would you like that any more or less?
I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
I mean, I always put a bumper case, or at least a case to protect the back, like I have on this phone, that also has the, wraps all the way around to protect the corners. So I always put that on anyway, so I don't ever see the back. I don't really care whether it's a metal unibody design or not. And at this point, I really think that Samsung's focusing on the software. The hardware is so incremental at this point. Every time there's a new phone that comes out, it's like, oh, it's a little bit faster. It's a little bit faster. It's got a little bit better camera. There have been some rumors actually around, maybe an upgraded camera design, upgraded chip that we might start seeing in phones. That might be interesting. I think that's one thing that would be if they came out with a really killer camera that I could use. I think that would be really interesting. But the unibody design does not really interest me at all. And I think it's going to be a tough sell. I mean, I think it was already a tough sell for Samsung Galaxy S3 owners to upgrade to the S4 since it hadn't really been out that long when the S4 came out. I think it's going to continue to be a hard sell for Samsung unless they really do something splashy on the software side.
Well, we can hope that they present it in a better fashion. You can't talk about the Galaxy S4 without bringing up that presentation. So I just had to do it.
Oh. That hurt me physically.
Yeah, you're not the only one. That hurt everybody physically.
Yep.
Like a punch to the gut. Speaking of a punch to the gut.
I was just going to say, speaking of pain.
Okay, maybe not that bad. So how do we feel about wearable watches, like the Smartwatch thing? Are we on board with that?
When Google
I'm
comes
waiting
out with
for a good one.
Yeah.
Likewise.
That's the endless pursuit, is waiting for a good one. I had the chance to spend the last week, including Thanksgiving dinner, I will just say, although I didn't really look at it, but the Sony Smartwatch 2 here.
Now, before you begin, this is a legacy All About Android moment, the Sony Smartwatch review.
It is.
Given the epic
I believe it was Nicole Lee who
yeah.
reviewed it initially, and it was an ongoing topic of discussion on the show.
Yes.
Just about how much
So
it
no
didn't
pressure.
really make a whole lot of sense.
No pressure.
Well, I will say, okay, so this is $50 than the last model, and you can see a full review on this week's Before You Buy at twit.tv/BYB. This is $50 than last year's model at $199.99. So right there, the price is pretty steep. Yeah. But I think the good thing here is that it has the transflective display, right? So there is no backlight on right now. This is what you see. And what it does is it allows you to really conserve power, which I think that's one of my initial qualms with wearable smartwatches is that, okay, well, it's just going to burn through battery all the time. You're going to have to plug it in every night. You don't have to do that with this, thankfully. I get 3 to 4 days of battery out of it, which is pretty good. So I turn it on. That gives me my display. It gives me 3 seconds before I go. Looks like Android. It's actually not. It's meant to look like Android, but it's not running Android. You sync apps to it that kind of communicate with your phone. So essentially, the way I think of this watch is it's an extension of your notification panel on your device. It has other things that it can kind of do, things like, a flashlight screen on. That's not very fancy, but there's a way to control your camera in here. Is this? No, that's the timer. And I swear it disappeared. Where did it go? There we go. Okay. So I have this, right?
So it's just a remote
It's a expensive remote control.
Yeah, and it didn't need here.
That could be kind of cool though if you're trying to take a family picture, you set up your phone
on my phone
on a rock or something and point it at your family.
I have issues.
I don't know. Because you can't. Someone's always missing from the picture.
Let's try this one more
yourself.
time. Damn it!
Oh yes,
that icon doesn't make
the legacy
live
continues.
demo.
There we go. See, now we're going. All right.
All right.
So go ahead and hold my phone, and I'm going to take a picture with it. You can see the little preview. I take a picture,
preview.
and what do you know? Hey, Ron, I took a picture, and I can go ahead and open it in Photos, and there it is.
Wow.
I did that while you held the phone. That's cool, right? Okay, so that's one thing that this can do. Let's just say that the app support on here, there's about 300 apps at this point because there were a bunch of apps made for the Smartwatch 1, and they could work on the Smartwatch 2. There's about 50 of them, I think, that Sony says that are tailor-made for the Smartwatch 2's better display, even though the display isn't that great. It's like 220 by 176 at 176 pixels per inch, which you see the pixels definitely when you're using it. That bugs me, but might not bug you. But the app integration and the notification integration is frustrating more than anything. You'll get a notification. Here, I'll show you Facebook, by the way. Facebook is hilarious. So there's Facebook. There's my feed. Go in. What? This is made by Sony, right? I'm going to go into that Facebook post, and all you see, it's hard to see here, are the names of the people that were attached on that Facebook post.
Look at all that white space.
Oh, yeah. No, you want to see more white space? Here's the rest of that post.
Oh, no way.
There it is. All right. So, okay, maybe I'm picking it apart, but I think ultimately...
Let's see the Twitter app.
What's that?
Wasn't there a Twitter app?
Even Justin Robert Young's sitting up there laughing his head off. There we go. So the Twitter app actually gives you something functional.
Well, because there's only 140 characters.
Yeah,
there you go.
but it also knows how to transfer text from one device to another. You can do very little things like mark it as a favorite or retweet or everything. But ultimately, here I think is the thing with the smartwatch, right? You want a smartwatch because you want it to be able to prevent you from having to pull out your phone to do these things. And almost all the time, if I got a notification on here, if I really wanted to do anything useful with it, I then had to still get my phone and do it. Having said that, I don't know if you want a display this small on your wrist doing a lot of the things that you do with your smartphone. Yep. I almost think like a smartwatch, a true smartwatch that everybody loves, unless somebody comes along and really revolutionizes it, and that's probably going to happen at some point. But the way it is right now, never going to satisfy anyone because it's just what we want out of it isn't possible the way they're making them right now.
Especially with UI concerns and things like that, and given the constraints of the display and the device and the size and what goes on the wrist, you need to think about new ways to interact with those applications on that level. And if anything, like you said, this is just another monitor for your phone.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all it is.
So it doesn't have any. I think voice integration is key. It doesn't have a mic on this one. I mean, that's key. What's key to me is if I can look at Dick Tracy style, right? Pop open my phone, and then I can be like, oh, I've got a text from somebody. Reply to text. Hey, hon, I'll be home at 5. That's all you need to do, right? Because that's what I don't want to get out my phone to do.
Yep.
It's just those really simple things. And if you can't even do that,
no, there's no camera, no speaker, no mic.
Can you get do texts go to that? Do text messages go there?
Yeah, they do.
Okay, so you can read text messages.
You can read them,
but okay, well, we're going to talk about Hangouts in a little bit, right? But I mean, here's one thing with this is that Hangouts has SMS and chat, right? So some of your stuff that comes out in the Hangouts app, which is now your SMS app, appears here, but other stuff doesn't. So depending on who you're communicating with, you're only getting half the story. Yep. It's just confusing and whatever. $200 is too much. Don't get this.
We have to call Nicole.
Nicole?
Her ears are probably ringing somewhere.
I know, right? Yeah, I think, there we go.
Love it.
Enough time
enough of that. All right, on to an email. So Connor writes in with another tale of woe related to KitKat. He says, last Tuesday, I was thrilled to see that my Nexus 4 was ready to apply what I assumed would be a tasty update to KitKat. After installing this new version, things seemed to miss. My home button wouldn't work and apps continually crashed, especially Google apps. My email didn't appear to be syncing properly in Gmail or in my Exchange account. Clicking web links in the Google search app opened Chrome, but failed to load the page in question, and the Play Store rejected my phone each time I tried to enter. I did a little digging and discovered that others were having problems with the KitKat update for the Nexus 4. There were reports of fixes, but the simplest and the ones that sounded guaranteed to work, from my standpoint, was to do a factory reset. I know that well, Connor. I feel your pain. But after taking that plunge, all my phone problems persisted, other than the home button issue. It took me many hours and a lot of reading to figure out how to flash the factory image and finally restore my phone to working order. By the way, at that point, I would have jumped off a bridge. Like to have to flash the factory. Anyway, but now I'm stuck advising my family members, all of whom I convinced to pick up a Nexus 4 earlier this year, to ignore the update being pushed to them by Google.
That's a hard one too, right?
I'm a huge Google fanboy, but it seems Google has a long way to go to become a true consumer product company. This kind of screw-up would never have happened on an Apple product. And if it had, there would have been a fix as soon as possible. Instead, we Android faithful have to wait around without clear indications as to what is being done. It seems to me that Google needs to focus more on reliability and customer service if they hope to fulfill the promise of their mobile platform.
Yeah, it's a tricky one.
This is
it's too bad you aren't still on the Nexus 4 because you could talk.
I have a Nexus 4. I haven't upgraded it though. I've been meaning to wipe it and sell it to Gazelle and all that sort of stuff. I haven't done the update, so I haven't run into these problems. But yeah, that stinks. I'm sorry, because you're so excited for the update and you hear us talking about it and you want it. I'm totally with you. I installed the KitKat update on my Nexus 7 as soon as I could. But luckily enough, there are ways to solve your problem without having to do a factory reset. I don't know, maybe. There is an instruction on cultofandroid.com on how to downgrade the Nexus 4 to Jelly Bean from KitKat, and it's basically a how-to on how to do that. So if any of your family members have have an issue with it, or you need to advise somebody, you can point them to that. So that's on Cult of Android. And who knows? I mean, I don't want to single you out, but maybe, I know other people are having problems, but the updates that I'm sure Google's fixing it. I'm sure Google's not going to want to leave it be. And maybe your family members will have a better track record. Maybe your phone will do a little better next time. So,
yeah. And I mean,
he's right.
Saying Apple doesn't have their own issues. They definitely do. This is not a matter of that. It just kind of sucks when you buy into a device and you're left kind of
not only
hanging for days without getting any sort of message. And the only alternative is to go through this 20-step process to revert back. And that's no fun.
It's brutal.
Yeah, and it's not the only one. There's other reports out there saying that this is a problem for other people too. Many of them coming out today talking about home button not working, phone dialer not working, lock screen getting stuck, bad battery life.
Yep.
So this isn't a one-off here. I mean, other people are having this problem too, but it's tough because that's why we talk about going with Google, stock Google or Google Edition. We talk about that because this stuff's not supposed to happen.
Right.
It's supposed to be unless you loaded your own ROM. In that case, you're on your own, right? You got to upgrade it yourself. But going stock Google, the reason we tell people to do that is because you're going to get a consistent experience. Upgrades are going to come early, and they'll be seamless, right? Yeah. And in this case, that last bullet was not hit. So
and he's absolutely right that if Google wants to build that customer kind of loyalty, it's got to be like clockwork, and you can't. Yeah. I'll be curious to hear what if they make an official response or like what is the cause of this, because it sounds like something's off, you know, to have this many issues down the line, this many people come up with it. I can't imagine they would push out an update that hadn't been thoroughly QA'd. So I'm curious what the real story is on that.
Yeah, it would be interesting to tell. Maybe somebody uncommented something in the upgrade script that they shouldn't have.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that.
But you would think that would be easily fixed quickly. So we'll monitor it. If you're having problems with Nexus 4, write in. Let us know. Let us know what your adventures have been like with the KitKat upgrade. So
yeah. Thankfully, the Moto X did not experience those kind of hiccups.
I'm fine.
What's that?
I'm fine.
Yeah. Fine. You guys fend for yourself.
I haven't gone back to art, by the way. I haven't touched it.
Oh, yeah.
I've just stayed in pristine. I'm fine.
I understand. It's no fun having to do a factory reset.
It was miserable.
And start.
I still haven't. I had the phone perfect. I spent like 3 hours setting everything up, and then I had the factory reset. Now I'm still like in ad hoc mode. I need to sit down this weekend and do it perfectly. So.
Well, I mean, that's what happened to me. Well, it didn't happen to me exactly like that. I did it to myself, right? If you watched This Week in Google a couple weeks ago, I, live on the show, upgraded my Samsung Galaxy S4 to KitKat. And it was okay. It actually worked. We were able to get it up and get it running, but there was a lot of bugs in the ROM that I loaded. And they've since fixed a lot of those, but I couldn't wait for them to fix them all. So luckily I had a backup. I just restored the backup, and now I'm back to like super awesome, excellent, better battery life than I've ever had on any device on this particular ROM that I'm using. Oh, there it is. Yep, Android. So, I feel your pain. It is tough to go from something that's working fine, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to get the latest and greatest, and then holy crap, what happened? So it's very frustrating.
All right. Let's take another quick break and thank another sponsor of this episode, iFixit. iFixit is awesome. I'm sure you've used them as a resource, or at least taken a look at their amazing walkthrough guides. Amazing resource. It's definitely best known for their teardowns of devices, but it's also an online community with over 10,000 repair guides for everything from your smartphone, computer, tablet, and game console to your home appliances and even your bike. It's like having a free online repair manual for everything. If you shattered your Galaxy screen, you need to repair your laptop or swap the battery on your S3, iFixit has you covered. They can even hook you up with the parts you'll need to do it, and everything they sell is tested and guaranteed. iFixit also makes the most trusted repair tools for consumer products, including the Pro Tech Toolkit, which I happen to have here. It's just a fantastic toolkit, and might I say, it's the holidays. This thing, well, it's a little bit bigger than most stockings. Yeah, take a look at that box there. But it's going to fit and slide right in there pretty nicely. This thing is stocked. It has everything you're going to need to tear apart your devices and put them back together again, basically. All of these tools, Torx, Tri-Wings.
That's Tri-Wings.
Pentalobe bits, Phillips, all sorts of stuff. I mean, this alone is just pretty much everything you're going to need. And I can't tell you how many times I'm running through the house, scrambling, trying to find, one of these tools to do something with. Just fits into the pocket on the side here. You've got all these ways to kind of pry off the screen, pull back the plastic without totally damaging the plastic. Everything you're going to need here. I know it's a suction cup, but you know what? When your screen is broken and you need to pry it off, this helps you.
It's a great way to lift it up.
Yeah, now you have a suction cup on your phone. So there you go, Ron.
There you go. Excellent, yeah.
Totally usable. I hope you enjoy that for your app review. We get an edge. Just a bunch of great tools in here, and they're all designed to help you manage the repair and maintenance of your technology and things, basically. There's a little something in here for all the technology that you happen to be working with.
Wow, this thing is awesome.
Yeah.
Not to get into your ad, but, I do this stuff at home. And, this has everything you're going to need. The Tri-Wing screwdrivers are especially hard to find. So if you're doing anything on Nintendo, that's perfect. Old Nintendos have all those Tri-Wing screwdrivers. And this thing has like the grabby tool and this really small tweezers. This thing is awesome.
The grabby tool is the best.
The grabby tool is really cool. Plus it looks kind of like, like Alien or something coming out to get you.
Yes.
The great thing about the grabby tool isn't so much. I mean, it's also being able to grab things within the devices, but working with computers and working with a lot of, you have the small screws. When you drop them and it falls underneath the power supply or something like that. I got fat fingers. I can't get under there. That used to drive when I used to do computer repair. That used to drive me crazy. The grabby tool was, and that's actually the technical term, the grabby tool.
Yeah.
You go to Home Depot and say, I need one of those grabby tools. They know exactly.
Like, I know exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah.
I highly recommend this, and I haven't even used it yet. So
there you go.
It's awesome.
Well, it is fantastic. It's lightweight. It's durable. Definitely the way it's all packed and everything will stand the test of time there. And you can get it for $64.95. It's backed by 1-year warranty. Hobbyists, home DIY fixers can all use the ProTech toolkit for everything that you're looking to fix and to work on. It's just a great addition to any artist or hobbyist tool chest. Here you go. Excellent gift idea. Holidays are just around the corner after all, so there you go. With iFixit, you can fix it yourself. Visit ifixit.com/twit for free step-by-step guides. iFixit also sells every part and tool that you're going to need. Plus, if you enter the code AAA at checkout, you're going to save $10 off any purchase of $50 or more. That's ifixit.com/twit. Use the code AAA at checkout, and that works for you, and that works for us. We thank iFixit for their continued support of All About Android. It's a match made in heaven. All right, let's get into our apps section.
Apps. All right, let's talk about apps. Let's talk about CyanogenMod. As you guys remember, I'm sure you talked about this. CyanogenMod kind of went rogue. And are developing their own OS, officially, and it's actually running on some phones in China now, I think. But their app, they had an installer app, and it actually got pulled from the Play Store at Google's request. So they went out to CyanogenMod and said, guys, this really isn't kosher. It doesn't sound like they were really mean about it. I mean, it wasn't like it was, doing something really bad. But what it did do was they were saying it encouraged people to load different stuff on their phone that could void their warranty, basically. And so they said, guys, really, you should pull this. And so they did. So CyanogenMod is working with the Play Store folks to see if there's some way they can change it or something they can do a little differently that would abide by the regulations of the Play Store and get the app back on the market. But for now, it's out of there.
Now, was this? I mean, life hacker guy. I mean, this is a hack. Is this a surprise? Like, I wasn't surprised by this at all.
I don't think it's surprising that it came off of there. I mean, the way I think about it is if somebody comes to me and says, hey, can you put CyanogenMod on my phone? I would tell them, hold on, I've got to make sure you know a few things and that you don't come back to me for tech support later on. And CyanogenMod sort of kind of asked Google to do that. Like if that messes up their phone, someone's going to go to Google. They're not going to call up CyanogenMod. And I can see why Google would have a problem with that. I don't think it's a problem that the app exists, but putting it on the Play Store, making it that easy, is inviting trouble from people who don't know what they're doing with their phones. So I think it makes sense to pull it.
Yeah. I wasn't surprised that it got pulled. I was surprised it got up at all. And I figured it was just a matter of time. So, But
it probably takes a little while for them to actually go through and see, what's it doing? Is it really breaking our terms of agreement? Yes, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
You guys.
Yeah. There's a process.
There's a process. It's got to be reviewed and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's almost like civil disobedience.
Yeah.
It's like we know it's going to get booted, but we need just to start the dialogue. We need to get it in there.
Right. In a related note, CyanogenMod 10.2 is out. So if you are a CyanogenMod fan and you want to upgrade from 10.1, now's the time to do it. You can go out and get CyanogenMod 10.2, which is based on Android 4.3. So if you want to get all those cool things that were in Android 4.3, plus all the stuff you love about CyanogenMod, you can go out and download and upload that to your device at your leisure.
Excellent. Is it 4.3 or 4.4? I actually don't know.
10.2 is based on 4.3.
Okay.
So probably the next gen will be
10.3.
Yeah. 10.2 is on 4.3. 10.3 will be 4.4. Yeah, it gets pretty confusing, but
brain explodes.
Yeah, actually there's not a lot. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what they do with 4.4 actually, because 4.4 is where Google actually, came out with their launcher. And traditionally,
that's a really good point.
CyanogenMod usually loads a launcher of whatever their preference is at the time. It used to be ADW launcher. That's what I use, and I don't know, they may have modified or gone away from that. But they usually load their own launcher. So will they stick with their own launcher, or will they try to use Google Launcher? I don't think they can use Google Launcher, and that's where all the new, a lot of the new features of KitKat are. So.
Yeah, no, most of the code for the new Google Experience Launcher is actually built into the Google Search app.
Right.
And then there's a separate launcher APK. So they might be able to include that just because that's floating around, but I don't think that's open source. So they may not do that. I know they can't build in Google Search to the ROM itself. So
exactly. Yeah, you're going to have to do that separately. And I know when I put my 4.4 ROM on my S4, there was a GApps package for me to use, but it didn't include the launcher or search or any of those things. I had to sideload those separately from the leaks that happened, the KitKat leaks that happened earlier. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with 4.4.
Yeah, and folks in the chat room are saying CM11 is 4.4.
That makes sense.
So there are nightlies.
And actually, it's right here in the article I was reading. I just didn't see
it. It's just a little below there. There we go. It's been a long day.
It has been.
So we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier in the show around Chrome OS, but the GitHub, this is an extension of that. The GitHub repository has something called Mobile Chrome Apps. Michael Mockney, who's a software dev at Google as the lead. And basically, it's a toolkit that's going to help developers create Android and iOS hybrid native apps with Chrome app, as they say, polyfills. So basically, essentially, this would allow developers to publish apps directly to Play and Apple's App Store, Chrome OS apps. So we're seeing, and Google, of course, declined to comment directly on this, but it's a Google software developer that's kind of leading this up. I don't know. What do we think? There's this crazy kind of convergence that we all kind of feel like is going to happen eventually, but no one's, no official.
It's like the elephant in the room.
Yes, it totally is the elephant in the room. Yep. Do you think it's just a matter of time before this happens, Eric? What do you think about all this?
I think my ideal for Chrome OS, and it sounds like this is sort of what it's going towards. I don't know if you know this, but you can basically run Chrome OS within Windows itself. And that's what I'd like to see for Android. It sounds like this is saying because you can download Chrome apps now. I use the Chrome Google Keep app, I think, and it runs as a separate app in Windows. I'd like to see that in Android so that Android apps and Chrome OS apps are indistinguishable. And eventually, if I get a Chrome OS device, for example, I can download some of those apps to that device. And it'll be exactly the same thing I use on Android. Whereas now you have to get a separate Google Keep app and the Chrome OS Google Keep app and use them entirely separately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually do just that. I use Keep quite a bit for note-taking, and I have to, it's separate, and it's kind of weird. I mean, if you look at the history of what Google's been doing in Chrome for Android, I mean, it looks like they're kind of going that direction, like you were saying, and I hope that's true, and I hope that this rumor is just kind of like a way to bridge the gap, maybe. But to me, like, Android itself is just kind of coming out of this fractured history that it's had, right, with all the various versions. It's just kind of like getting to the point where I don't feel like it's fractured as much as it was before. And to throw Chrome into the mix at this point, I think is a bad. I mean, I think really Chrome needs to be running on top of Android at the end of the day. And if you get a new Chromebook, then it needs to be running Android as the base OS and then Chrome on top of it. That's just my feeling. I think that's the way it needs to go. And I hope those two teams get together over at Google and make things happen.
Well, they made the head of Chrome the head of Android as well. So
yeah, exactly. That was another pointer that things might be going in that direction. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, when they unify things, it's not always a good thing. Which is a Tom Merritt-esque segue to our next segment, which is spurred from a conversation Jason and I were having recently. So ever since moving to KitKat, now KitKat is the default SMS app is now Hangouts, which we knew was coming. Hangouts, I had Nexus. I had my Nexus 4. I had Hangouts. I never used it. I stuck with the default SMS Messenger application. Now that I'm on KitKat, I've been on Hangouts, and much to my chagrin and woe, I can't stand it. I do not want my SMS world merged with my Gtalk world. And I know the world of messaging is all tied into one, and now people have a phone number and a data, whether it's an email address or whatever, and they just want to connect you to make the easiest way. But I don't use my Google account for chat as a primary at all. And so I've got a bunch of people who have added me to circles and all this. I've got this list of people that I just ignore. I don't have Gmail is not my default email. I have a personal, my own server and things like that. So the first couple of days on KitKat were just a mess as I tried to untangle and realize that no, I don't want to IM this. I don't want to IM this person. I want to SMS message this person. So I'm ready to jettison Hangouts. Absolutely. And I don't know if I'm the only person who's had this experience or not. This is the only bumpy road about KitKat for me in the Nexus 5 has been my hatred of Hangouts. And so I'm on the market looking for a new SMS app. And I love the fact that KitKat allows you to change your default SMS app much easier than previous versions. I have used Chomp in the past. I have used sliding message. That was one of my Google one of my Arena picks. But I like the interface of Hangouts. I think it's a nice app. I just want to turn off the IMing, the chatting, and all that stuff. I just want it to be SMS only. So Jason posted to Google Plus.
Yeah,
my woes.
And yes, of course, there were a lot of recommendations around sliding, which you had covered
Yep.
in the arena. But yeah, and somebody in the chat, J Moon, just posted 8 SMS. Ultimately, I think it's just a matter of kind of picking one of these and setting it as your default. And
I gotta play with them. I mean, I might revisit Chomp. I might revisit sliding. Sliding got a little buggy for me. That's why I stopped using it. But yeah.
And do you know how to change it in KitKat?
Well, how can you show me?
I can show you. I can show you. Sure, why not? Settings. If you go to wireless, or let's see here. So under wireless and networks, more. And up here, you'll see a default SMS app. This is where you can select. I only have Hangouts. It's the only one that I have installed.
But I mean,
you can also do it from the. I think you can do it from the Hangouts
app itself.
Yeah, you can go to settings
and just change.
It'll show your account, so you might not want to pull it up on the camera. I don't know, but it'll show your accounts, and there'll be an option there for SMS, and it says turn on SMS. You just turn it off.
Yeah.
And it'll go back to the way it was.
So can you just turn off chat? I mean, can I just have it be? No, you can't. You see, that's what drives me crazy about it.
So you would rather have it just be SMS?
SMS. I just want it purely to be SMS.
I kind of like the fact that it's unified because, like, when I was in Hawaii last week, I wanted to do video chat with my wife.
Yeah.
Or well, my wife, she was with me. I wanted to do video chat with my daughter at home, and I just went to Hangouts and launched a video Hangout, and it all worked, and I didn't have to worry about which app do I open. It was just one app, and I just opened it up, and it worked.
Which is nice, but like the thing is, I do have people IMing me to that account, and I don't want people IMing me on my phone. I don't want people thinking I'm at my desk, so I've had to figure out how to make it look like I'm invisible or whatever, all that sort of stuff. I just don't like it. And I'm being, kind of old man cranky here and not in my backyard, but I think SMS messaging is SMS messaging, and IMing is something different. The video Hangouts and things like that are something slightly different as well too. But it goes back to that customizable. That's for me, and for you, it might be a better experience.
Yeah. See, for me, I want them to go one step further and integrate voice as well.
That would be a killer app.
Once they integrate voice and it all just becomes the same thing, then it does say on there whether it's SMS or not. To me, I really like it. I like not having to go to separate apps for separate functions. They're all basically the same functions. They're people leaving you messages, or they're people that you want to talk to. And
you see, but there's the trick. People you want to talk to.
Well,
a lot of the people on that list I don't want to talk to.
I know where you're coming from because I have several. I have like 4 or 5 different Gmail accounts.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so I know exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah.
So far, it hasn't been a problem for me, but I don't know. We'll see.
Basically, what I need is a time machine to go back to 2003 or 2004 and register my Gmail account, knowing that Android was coming, and then make that part, because now I feel like I need to reset and you just can't. It's like it's a rolling rock down the hill. You can't stop to change direction. So anyway.
Can't stop it.
You can't stop.
I feel you, brother.
But you can stop for some entertainment, and when you do that, you're gonna want to check out our sponsor Hulu.
Nice.
Yes, there you go. I'm learning. Now, you've probably tried Hulu.com before, but Hulu Plus is so much more than that. With Hulu Plus, you can watch your favorite shows anytime, anywhere. Jason's got it here on his phone. It looks beautiful and gorgeous on the Hulu Plus app.
I might have to resume Sesame Street.
Yeah, there you go. Hulu Plus lets you watch thousands of hit TV shows and movies in the living room or on the go with your smartphone or tablet. With Hulu Plus, you can watch your favorite TV shows like Sesame Street or Jimmy Kimmel Live or Saturday Night Live. Or you can watch every episode of series that you love like Lost, Doctor Who, Community, and Star Trek. You can also check out the exclusive content that Hulu has been developing with Hulu originals, like The Wrong Mans, which stars James Corden, who's awesome, who's from Gavin and Stacey, who I love him, and Behind the Mask, Hulu's new docuseries that takes you inside the world of sports mascots. You'll get access to a collection of ad-free movies and kids content, and for just $7.99 a month, you can catch up on current shows, binge on old favorites, or catch a great movie. Stream as many TV shows and movies as you want, wherever you want. So listen, right now, as an All About Android listener or watcher, you can try Hulu Plus free for 2 weeks when you go to huluplus.com/allaboutandroid. Now, that's a special offer just for you, just for the All About Android audience. So make sure you go to huluplus.com/allaboutandroid so you get the free extended trial, and you'll let them know that we sent you. So we want to thank Hulu Plus for their support of Twit, and we hope you enjoy watching instantly with Hulu Plus.
Get there, huluplus.com/allaboutandroid. Boom. Ooh. All right, it's time for the arena.
So many enter, but only one lives.
That's good.
Android Arena.
All right, and welcoming for the very first time into the arena. It's an epic battle usually, Eric. So I hope you're ready for this.
I prepared my body.
Yeah, it's rough. It's tumble. There might be blood. But ultimately, there will be 4 apps discussed. Last week, real quick here, let's take a look at the results. Yeah, wow, okay, I hadn't looked at this. Gravity Screen.
I totally predicted this one.
Gravity Screen wins with 67% of the votes. All the Cook's Recipes at second place at 18%. Sawmill, 11% third place. And Grand Street at 4th. That means, Ron, that you go first.
I got a lot of positive feedback on the Twitter and stuff about Sawmill.
I saw that too.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to like the Sawmill. So I pulled an audible last night as I was trying to decide what app to choose. I had a couple apps in mind, but then I saw this one pop up, and given what's going on this month, I immediately had to jump for it. I happen to be a big World Cup soccer fan. They announced the ball today. They unveiled the ball for the World Cup, which is going to be in Brazil next summer. The draws of who's going to be in what group is coming up in a couple of weeks. And just in time, FIFA has rolled out the official FIFA app for Android. Works great on your phone or tablet. I've got it here on my tablet, and so I'm going to pull it up. It is free in the Google Play Store, so that's always a good thing. And I'm going to nudge into Jason here. But so what you've got is you've got a very prettily designed app, and I'm going to go through the walkthrough so you can see that. Oh yeah, sure, I can do that too. Jason can move my laptop, and we can do that. There we go.
Team effort here.
So very, very nice design, lots of imagery, and they make it real easy to use. They've got the little hamburger menu up in the upper left for your navigation. They've got a news feed for you, and then a section where you can track all the matches that are going on. What you can do is when you load it up, it gives you a rundown of scores. It's covering all forms of soccer and football around the world. This happens to be covering MLS, but if you're a fan of the Premier League or the leagues in Brazil or anything like that, if you track a specific team, you can totally track them. On the right side, you can set your favorites. So here I've chosen my favorite national teams of the U.S., Italy, and England. And on the club side, I want to track Manchester United, New York Red Bulls, and Fluminense from Brazil. And you can also change the various leagues that you want to keep track of, whether MLS or the UEFA champions. So if you're a soccer fan, whether it's World Cup level or league level, this has got everything you need for it. You hit the little menu, and you can go into the news section, which will give a nice little kind of Google card-esque design, so you can see the various different things that are going on. And we can check out this article about Ronaldinho from Brazil. And I'm not connected to the Wi-Fi, so that's a problem. But and then additionally, they've got a whole section dedicated to the World Cup. And so they've got a great little countdown here that will tell you how many days until the next major milestone, which is actually the drawing for the groups. They've got a news feed related to the World Cup. When the World Cup kicks in, this app will be a must-have app for me. I'm going to be using it to track all the matches, all the schedules, who's playing who, when, and that sort of thing. What's great about that is they've got a neat little integration here. When there's a specific game or a match or something, there's an add to calendar button, and it will then pull up and add the event to your calendar, so you can keep track of. In this instance, it's going to keep track of my World Cup draw date, which is what's coming up in 2 days. They've also got a great little ranking section, so you can keep track of the countries participating in FIFA, so you can see who's where. So currently Spain is on top, followed by Germany. It's going to be a great summer of soccer. I can't wait to kind of dive in, and this app is going to make it that much more enhanced for me to enjoy the football. So yes, simply called FIFA. Works great on a tablet or phone. I've got it on both my devices. It's free. If you're a soccer fan, it's a must-have. So there you go.
Radical. FIFA, F-I-F-A, if you don't know. But why wouldn't you know? Because FIFA's all over the place.
FIFA's pretty big.
FIFA is a big deal. Awesome, and that's free. Aaron, you're up next. What you got?
All right. Well, have you ever wanted to make your own font?
Yes,
have you ever wanted to make your own font with your own finger?
Oh.
I have. And so my app today is InstaFontMaker. So this is an app that you can run on your phone, on your Android phone, and you can actually go in and draw with your finger in your own handwriting, essentially, and make your own font. And it's really cool because what it does is it walks you through all the letters, and then it actually offers to send you the TFF file or TTF file of the font to your email so that you can load it on your Windows device or Linux device, whatever you happen to be running. And for some phones, you can even actually load it right on your phone. It doesn't work for my phone, unfortunately, Samsung Galaxy S4, but there's a lot of other ones that it does work for. So try it at your own behest. Is that right, grammatically?
No, sure. That works.
Okay, good.
Works for me.
All right. So here's how this works. Basically, when you open up InstaFontMaker, you can click on, there's 3 different choices here. There's trending, which is just stuff that people are saying about InstaFontMaker. Not very interesting. But then there's actually make a font. So you click on make a font. It opens up a window, and you can see this is the font that I did because it would have taken too long. It would have been like watching paint dry if I went through this. But basically, you go through and you put in your own. It's like, okay, write a B. I'll write a B. Write a C. I'll write a C. And you can go in and do that for all of the fonts that you want to do. And I think I can do a new font if I didn't like that. Okay, this is an untitled font. So I can go ahead in, I don't know if you can, there we go, now you can see it. So I can go ahead in and I can write my A and then write my lowercase b. Maybe I'm dyslexic and I write my C's backwards. I don't know. D's. Yeah, it is style. Yeah. Maybe I do my D like this, or maybe I didn't like that. You can undo it and do a D like a little bit more like that. Maybe I can do it again like this. However you draw your letters, you go in and do that. And then when you're all done, you hit finish. You get to title this. I'll call it something silly like GGGG. You say OK, and it says, OK, we've done all the font work. Here's what it's going to look like. Of course, I didn't actually do all the letters, so it's filling in with the letters I did, normal font for the letters I didn't do. And then you can either write a message and take a picture of it and send it to somebody, or you can email the font to yourself, basically, or to someone you love. When you're done with all that, the other thing you can do, once you've got the font on your phone, you can go in to write, and you can actually write something with the font that you just made. Now, I did go ahead and send this to myself, and I loaded it up in Windows. So in this same view, there we go. That's what my font looks like in Windows. I know it's a little hard to see, but up here I can actually, I called it Aaron. I know it's really hard to see, but basically once I loaded the font in Windows, it just appeared in Word.
That's cool. And
that's what it looks like. So that's what I learned to type when I was learning typing. This is the phrase I had to use. Now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of their country. So I would highly recommend checking it out if you want to just draw your own font. Maybe you're really into fonts and you just like to make something cool and quirky, or have something in your own handwriting. Because, now
that's cool.
It is really cool. Now that everything's digital, it's really hard to get, I don't even write that much anymore, to be honest with you. Yeah. So like if I wanted to write a note to my kids to send it to their phone at lunchtime or something, how's it going? I hope you're doing okay. They'll instantly recognize that it's my handwriting instead of just being a normal text message. So
right.
InstaFontMaker.
InstaFontMaker, all one word.
Yep.
2. And that is free. Awesome. I love it. All right, Eric, it's your turn to enter the arena. I have your app installed. I'm realizing, though, I think I installed the other version and not the full version. So hopefully this shows enough.
That's okay. Yeah,
but go ahead and talk. I'll show it off.
Okay, so Unify Remote, if you use a home theater PC or just watch stuff on your computer from a far distance, is easily the best way I've found to control your computer remotely. It's got,
I don't know if I'll
you install the server on your computer, which I'm not sure if you've done it there.
No, I haven't. So I probably won't be able to show off very much of this.
So you install a very small app on your PC, and this app on your phone, and you can pull up, I'm not sure if you tap on the remotes, if it'll show you the remotes there.
Yeah, because I'm not connected.
Yeah, it's got a basic mouse, so you can use it as a mouse and keyboard by just using the touchscreen. You run your finger over it and it moves your cursor. But then it's also got a bunch of specialized remotes, like for Netflix, Hulu, just your basic media, turning your volume up and down. And with the full version, you can actually create your own custom widgets. So, for example, on my home screen, I've got a widget that has a volume up, volume down, and mute button right on one of my home screens. So you can easily and quickly control your computer from far away. And it works over Wi-Fi, so I can actually turn the volume down on my computer if I'm downstairs or in another room or something. So it's easily the best way to control your computer remotely. I found that if you use a home theater PC, it's indispensable. It even has IR support if you have, like, say, the HTC One or certain Samsung devices which have an infrared blaster on them. You can set up some IR actions so that you can control your TV that way as well.
Wow, that's really cool. So would this actually replace like my Harmony remote possibly, or is it not that functional?
It might. I haven't tried to. I don't have a phone with an IR blaster, so it might be able to do that. It would probably take some fiddling with it. It's a little bit like Tasker in that you can go as far as you want to. I think you can even create like your own custom voice commands. So you say turn the TV on and it'll pop up and pull up Netflix, but that obviously takes a little bit of working to get it going. Whereas the media remote is built in; it just works like that. So it's as much as you want to take it.
That's cool. Awesome. Very comprehensive, too, in what it allows you to cover, or control, rather. That's great. A unified remote. There is a free version. There's also a full version for $3.99. Gives you all of that control. And, yeah, cool stuff. Awesome. Check it out. And then I know we're running out of time here, so I'll just get to mine here real quick. VSCO Cam. This is a camera app that actually released today. So I've only had kind of the morning and the afternoon to kind of play around with it. I wasn't aware that this was like a big deal on iOS. It's
a huge deal.
I'm dumb when it comes to iOS stuff, but apparently this is a big deal. But they took their time and released an Android version. I've taken some photos, and basically what I've noticed in using it is that the UI of the app takes a little learning. You kind of have to learn kind of what their thought process is behind, how it's laid out and everything. And I'm still kind of working on it, but essentially, like, I took this with my phone, I can go into down here and it gives you all the different filters to get to immediately. One thing about this is that the filters look pretty high quality to me. You can purchase other filter packs if you want. Now, keep in mind, this is a free app right out of the gate. So if you purchased all of their filters, I think it's like $5.99.
That's not that bad.
And so essentially at that point, it becomes a $5.99 app. And that's not too bad if this is the kind of app that you want to maybe be your camera replacement. But essentially, I can pull up this preset, and then if I tap it again, I get kind of control for how much of that particular preset I apply. And they have just a number of them. And actually, I'll go ahead and show you here. I'll exit out of here. If I go into the store, you can kind of get a sense for just how many other ones they have. See, 38 presets are 50% off right now, so you can get all of them for $6. But they just have a ton of different packs that fall into different themes here. If there's one thing that's really important to you versus another, there you go. A bunch of theme packs. Some of them are free. Some of them are 99 cents. So. And there you have that. So basically, I'll go into the camera here, and you can see right away. I took a picture. I didn't realize I was going to just shoot a picture of my keyboard. It's not the most exciting picture in the world.
Does it work with the watch?
Not yet, but I've heard absolutely nothing about that coming.
That's probably a good thing.
Yeah. Anyways, it's kind of a cool, different way if you wanted to replace your camera, how you use which camera is kind of your default camera on your device. This is another one to use. There's a way to kind of connect it to VSCO Grid so that you can upload all of your photos in an easy place. to on the web so that people can see it and everything and find it there. But I'm still kind of, I fully admit, I'm still kind of getting used to how it's all laid out. But, so far, I think they do a pretty interesting approach to camera. They certainly have simplified it. And some camera apps are so detailed with all of these different options. Sometimes you just want it simple, but easy to use, and this is one way to do it. They also, another feature that they tout is like direct sharing. So obviously all apps share. If I hit share, I could share to anything in my share menu, but you can sync up to your official accounts, and it makes it like a direct share. So you kind of save yourself a few steps on sharing it out to the different services. So that is VSCO Cam. It's free. Oops. And it's in the app, in the Play Store, and check it out and see what you think of VSCO Cam. All right, we have 4 apps that you can vote on this week. Let us know which is your favorite. AAApoll.com/138 is your favorite. FIFA, InstaFontMaker, Unified Remote Full, or VSCO Cam. And early reports are in. InstaFontMaker coming out with the lead.
It's a cool,
FIFA,
it's a cool app.
Second. This all, is subject to change. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, the early leaders are never one.
That's never a good indicator, is it?
You never know.
Yep.
All right. I fully realize that we are out of time. But you know what, Brian? Breaking news time.
This is a big one, folks. This is big.
This is big. I hope you're all ready, because apparently this guy that we've talked about a couple of times, his name is Matthew Holtzum. Apparently, he just released to the Play Store a game that you might want to pick up. Go ahead and take my screen. This is a game called the All About Android the game.
Wow,
That's awesome.
And so let's see here. So so we can choose host. Who would I choose
Gina,
to play?
'cause she's not here.
Yeah, Gina is okay. So there we go. We've got Gina. You can log into Google Play, play games if you want. There's story. I just want to play. I encourage you to go to story. Okay, so tap left side of the screen to jump. All right, I get it. Yes.
Oh, you died.
Uh-oh. I didn't see that. That's okay. I'll try again.
Any of the
That's
things
cool.
you die. So yeah.
Tap left side of the screen to jump, and then
Tap and hold.
tap and hold the left side to jump higher. Okay. Okay, yes, I got it. Tap and hold the right side of the screen to slide. Okay. Oh,
you did slide.
I did the wrong thing. Okay, apparently I need to do walkthroughs a little better.
It's a game about the show, and it works.
How cool
it's
is that?
amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. This is in the Play Store right now. Go get it.
It's only 99 cents.
It's 99
Totally support Matthew and his endeavor. We do have a problem with the story, because we now need Matthew to edit out Chad, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, no, Chad's in there.
So we need to get rid of Chad and replace that with Brian.
There's Chad. Or Brian, you're just gonna have to color your hair
Brian,
red.
can you dye your hair red again, please? All right, thank you.
That's funny.
All right,
So there you go. Highly anticipated. I imagine fans of the show will go out and flock to this in droves. It is AAA the game. Look forward to the Play Store. I will have a link in the show notes at twit.tv/AAA. And how awesome is that? Matthew, thank you for spending your time doing this. He says he's going to keep it updated and continue working on it. And, it's an early release. So if it doesn't work perfectly, he's going to fix it.
We've been immortalized in game form.
Yeah.
This is like a
It's a dream
bucket
come
list.
true.
Yeah, bucket list
yeah.
crossed off. Thank you, Matthew. I appreciate it.
No
I'm
kidding.
gonna go download you guys.
You've been on the show. Now play the game. Speaking of being on the show, Eric, it's been awesome having you with us today. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be on All About Android.
Oh no, it's been a blast. You guys are so jazzed to be on here.
Right on. This is your chance to tell people what you're working on, where people can find your work, all that stuff.
I'm on lifehacker.com. I'm one of many people writing for that site, and I'm pretty sure some of them have better stuff than I do personally. But I cover a lot of Android news, so if anyone watching the show is interested in that, I'm not sure, but they might want to check that.
Maybe a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Excellent. Eric, thank you again. And we'll be in touch. We'd love to have you back, of course.
Love to be back. Thanks.
Right on. Aaron, what you got going on?
If you want to find out more about me and what I'm up to, you can check me out on Google Plus. I am Aaron Newcomb at Google Plus. I will be back tomorrow morning early, 8:30 Pacific time. It's early for me anyway. On Floss Weekly, we'll be talking about. I believe it's called Avahi. It's kind of like a home. It's everything for your home kind of server. It does phones, it does media serving, and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of all lumped into one. So we'll be talking about that. Should be a lot of fun. And of course, you can find me on I'm an occasional guest host on other Twitch shows as well. So I will be there when I'm not listening to my new favorite album by Yellow Gold.
Oh boy.
Called Everone. I'm just going to get that in there because I've been listening to it all day, and it's awesome.
Right.
So Scanlines is my favorite track so far. Go check it out. It's on Google Plus. Can I say it's on Google Plus?
Oh, shucks.
Can I say it's on the Play Store?
It's on Play. It's
I can
all
say
over.
that. Okay. It's on the Play Store, so go check it out.
Is that a segue to your plug?
Apparently it is. Yes. I only brought 2 CDs, but
So
here you
cool.
go.
Oh,
Now
awesome.
you got CDs.
Wow.
Because I feel like a shill, and I feel like I just need to jump off a bridge now. But yeah,
great. These for us,
basically
really?
this thing
That's
that I've been
cool.
talking about for months in one way or another that you're sick of hearing about.
It. Oh my God, that's awesome.
They were
is
extra from the Kickstarter, okay?
Thank you so
I didn't
much.
know that you were going to end up with these CDs. But
I'll take it.
Oh, I'm
Anyways.
glad I was filling in for Gina.
the music that I've been working on that I did a Kickstarter. It's public now. If you really want to listen to it, you can. yellowgoldmusic.com. It's there. It's free, and it's also everywhere else. It's on Play and many other places. Oh, thanks, Brian.
Very cool.
But I'm sure people are sick of hearing me talk about it. So that's all I'm going to say. yellowgoldmusic.com. Ron, what you got?
Yeah, so I alluded to it and I hinted at it last week, but as many of you know, I work by day at Image Comics, and we were very excited. Last Wednesday, we launched Image Comics on the Google Play Store in the book section.
Nice.
So now you can purchase Image Comics both in issues and collection format as EPUBs and PDFs for use on your tablet or phone or desktop. It's in the Google Play Store in the book section. If you go and shop, there's a whole section where they highlight Image Comics, and there they are right there. You can see it.
That looks fantastic.
Yeah, we
look
worked.
good.
Yeah, it was a lot of work with the Google folks, but we've got over 500 releases up there that are available for you to purchase. So if you want to check out Saga or start reading The Walking Dead or read East of West or Zero or any of the other great comic books that we've got, Chew is an awesome one. Check them all out. So just another place for folks to read comics online or digitally, but specifically for you Android folks, my brethren, I give you Google Play books, Image Comics.
There you go.
There you go.
Nice.
Follow me at about.me/RonXO, Twitter, Facebook, all that fun stuff. So
Brian, real quick, what you got? He wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, I don't have
Now
any
he's
of my stuff.
transparent.
You got to get.
There
we go. That's better.
Know what I was doing. I mean, I'm on Google Plus also. Mostly pictures of motorcycles
Okay.
and stuff I do here at Twit. But a cool project that I did with Ayaz and Padre on Know How was putting a Raspberry Pi inside of an NES case.
Yeah, it was really cool.
So awesome.
So everyone check
you guys
that
did a
out.
great job with that.
Thanks.
I got to see the progress. Brian kept grabbing me. Hey, come look at this, because he knows I do a lot of hacking on stuff like this. Look at this. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. And he's like, isn't this cool? And I'm like, yeah, that's awesome.
Oh,
It is
right
really
on.
cool.
Sweet. And we will get you an upgraded phone. We're going to figure it out, Brian. I promise.
Thank
We're
you.
going to make this work.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at Moto X. I think I'm going to go with the Moto X.
I think you should. Tomorrow, buy it full price. And
Yeah.
I don't know. It's on sale tomorrow. It's just my initial knee-jerk reaction. Real quick before I do the end of show stuff, twit.tv/best of. I just found out that I'm doing a best of for All About Android. So I need suggestions because I didn't know this all year.
Surprise.
And so if you
you
have
do best
any
of the whole year?
best of clips,
Oh wow!
clip show.
Wow.
So I've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, you do.
Help me. You guys are the best ones to know what episodes, what parts of the episodes were the best from the year. Go to twit.tv/best of, find All About Android, submit moments. The more detail you can give me, the better. It's going to
Google
save me a
Glass
lot
is
of
going to be
time.
right up at the front.
I'm just
I know.
thinking about all the various rants and freakouts that we've had on the show.
I know. Honestly, it has the potential to be really great.
It could be, yeah, so.
But I need your help because I can't remember it all. But that's it for this week, everybody. Thank you for joining us, as always. Voicemails can be left at 347-SHOW-AAA. You can leave us an email or video mail at AAA@twit.tv. Find us on Twitter. We are at Android Show. We're also on Google Plus. We have an excellent community there as well with a lot of great conversation about Android. Find us on Reddit, twitaaa.reddit.com. Show notes can always be found, as well as past episodes, at twit.tv/AAA. You can also find our show all over the map, iTunes, YouTube, everywhere fine podcasts are shown. And finally, you can catch us live every Tuesday starting at 5 p.m. Pacific, live.twit.tv. That's it for this week. See you next week on another episode of All About Android. Bye.
Goodbye.
I know. Where are you going to put
Listen
that
to
CD?
it.
Does it
It's
fit into your
awesome.
phone? There we go.